go.
We're recording?
Yeah, we are.
Let's go.
Yo, 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 yo. I am Sunny D. Here with my home girl, Captain J.
Hello.
It's your favorite podcast, the Pot Smoking Moms. If you like the show, please rate, subscribe, share, and be friends with us on social media. We got a nifty website, potsmokingmoms.com. You can find all of our stuff there.
Yep.
We're a little weirded out. We're still getting used to the new setup because we have a whole setup now. We got to set up our cameras and our thing and our podcaster.
It's a lot to get used to. A lot of new things that we're doing that we're not. After two and a half years of doing it the other way. So if you're watching the video, you'll notice even the camera view looks a little different. We're using a new camera. So you can see a little bit more of the office that we're sitting in.
Yeah, we're trying. We'll get there. But
we're just two moms trying to figure this shit out.
Right. I'm surprised we know so much about technology.
We're doing good. I think we're doing all right.
Pretty good. So we're gonna, let's smoke it up.
I need this after all that.
I know. My brain's on mush.
So I got my Esadiba bong here with a bowl of 9-pound hammer from True Leaf.
I have some Lemon Kush OG in this. It looks like something from the future, but like something from the future from the 1950s. It's
so cute. I love that piece.
It's the Jetson piece.
Yeah, we named it Jetson. All right,
so if you got them, cheers. Smoke it up.
That was much needed after all that troubleshooting and figuring out how to set all this shit up.
I really like this piece.
Isn't it cute?
Because you don't got to put your whole mouth around it.
Nope.
Like the fucking bong. You just put, it's just like a little bubbler. It's nice.
And it's super cute.
Super cute. If you guys got a super cute piece, show it to us. Take a picture, tag us back. I know sometimes you get new pieces and you want to show it off.
Yeah, we'll share it with our
share it with our community.
Let's all show each other our favorite pieces.
I need to buy some. Actually,
I want a new piece. In fact, it came up in the Discord chat. Denise said she needs a bong. She's always done blunts and joints, and she wants to invest in a bong. I'm like, let's go shopping. I want one too.
We should take her shopping. I need to get one too. Any smoke shops in Miami that you recommend, please
let us know. I've been going to the same one since high school.
I know.
Because it's in the neighborhood.
I know.
It's right there.
You know, it's home.
Headquarters
in Hialeah. I used to go in there in high school and feel like super wrong for being there. I know. Like, this is like no place. I shouldn't be here. This is for adults, not for me. And now we're in there and we're like
40.
We're still going in there. So you guys, we have a really amazing interview today. We're pretty sure most of you know her, Bianca Snyder, high society mama.
Her name sounds like she's like a spy or something, right? Bianca Snyder.
Yeah. Undercover. But she
undercover
is
canna mom.
She is not undercover.
No, she's definitely out. Yeah. I am a canna mom and proud.
Yes, and we'll have her on the show later to talk a little bit about We're
trying to figure this out.
There you go.
There she is. Look, see, last time we used Restreamio, we had Jesse helping us. So we're doing this solo. We're flying solo today.
Yeah, so
we forgot to put up the picture, but there it is.
So for those of you who are listening, we are pulling up the pictures of the guests, and we have like whatever news article we're talking about pop up. So that's Bianca Snyder, and we're going to have her on the show later. Most of you know her as a high society mama.
Yeah.
It was fun. So
stay tuned for that.
You could see this episode and all of our interviews on video by becoming a patron. Just there's so much stuff that we share on the Patreon. We even have a new Discord chat. So we're sharing all types of stuff in there, memes, all kinds of stuff. So go on over to our Patreon. It's on potsmokingmoms.com. It's the P. Or I have it laid out so you could just clickety click. If you can't contribute that way, that's cool. Just rate, review, share our podcast.
Yes.
Share any of our social medias.
We need some recent reviews. So please, if you can do a review, if you haven't done one before, we'll send you a sticker.
Yeah. Just show reviews. Give us a couple nice words and screenshot it. Send it over to us and we will gift you a bunch of stickers. My life.
I have no updates either.
I know.
Dude.
I don't have any update either.
My updates have been trying to figure this kind of stuff out, preparing for it, stuff for the show.
Yeah.
The event we're trying to get put together.
Yeah, we're
talking to possible sponsors. We don't want to say anything too much yet, but we have an event we're trying to get funded.
It's okay to say it to our listeners. If you're in the Orlando area, we are trying to get a bud crawl happening. We want to take our... I'm going to shove the mic into my face. Just pulling the table closer and closer.
I don't know why.
I already have the mic almost lodged into my throat. But we're trying to have a bud crawl out there, which would be really fun. We're trying to get a party bus so we could do some karaoke and some, do some quiz.
We just need some sponsors to help us fund it.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. And if you're in the Miami area and you have some ideas as to some places we could do events at, shoot them our way. We're trying to actually, one of you sent us a nice hemp farm we're going to be visiting next month. Mm-hmm. And
we're supposed to be visiting the flowery as well. Their farm.
So awesome. Lots of content coming your way. But in the meantime, we got some updates for you.
News Nugs, where we get high and read the news to you.
Weed news to you.
Oh, I forgot the weed news. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Pointing all over the place.
If you see us on the camera right now, it's like we're
trying to each do the things. So the story is, another update about Brittany Griner. We're only going to give you the update part. We're not reading the whole story.
This thing right here.
Oh, this thing. Okay, click here. Sorry, I was clicking the wrong spot, guys. All right. So apparently, a bipartisan group of senators introduced a resolution calling for Brittany Griner's release. So now everybody's getting it in here. It's not just the letter to
People
Biden
getting involved.
So Brittany Griner, as you know, has been arrested, but Republicans and Democrats in the United States Senate have come together in support of a resolution calling for the release of Brittany. More than 30 senators joined as co-sponsors of the resolution, which calls on the government of the Russian Federation to immediately release Griner.
Wow. Urges
the United States in all interactions with the government of the Russian Federation to raise the case of Brittany Griner and to press for her release. Urges the government of the Russian Federation to provide consular access to Brittany Griner while she remains in detention, and urges the government of Russia Federation to respect the human rights of Brittany Griner and expresses support to the family.
Well, I mean, I think they needed to kind of put a little bit of pressure because they were trying to feel it out and see what was going on, and then now
it's gone too long.
Yeah,
it's gone too long. Yeah.
The resolution additionally expresses support for Paul Whelan, a U.S. citizen who was arrested in Russia in 2018 on espionage charges, along with all prisoners unjustly imprisoned in the Russian Federation. It was written by Democratic Senators Mark Kelly and Kristen Sinema, both of Arizona, where Griner's WNBA team, the Phoenix Mercury, plays.
Makes sense.
As well as Democratic Senator John Wyden of Oregon and Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas, the home of Griner's alma mater, Baylor University. I've worked with the State Department to make sure that Brittany Griner's safe return is a top priority, and this bipartisan resolution shows the Senate support for her as well. Brittany Griner is an inspiration to Arizonans and Americans across the country. I have had the pleasure of meeting her and seeing her talent on the court up close. The Russian government unjustly detained Brittany, and we will keep working with the administration to ensure her safety and swift return, Kelly said in a statement on Thursday. Arizonans have love and admiration for Brittany Griner, both and off the court. The Department of State determined that Brittany was wrongfully detained. It's time for her to come home.
Yeah, come home. All right, so we did previously report that she wrote a letter to Biden, and Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris spoke with Griner's wife, Cheryl Griner, earlier this month after they received said letter. As I sit here in a Russian prison alone with my thoughts, and without the protection of my wife, family, friends, Olympic jersey, or any accomplishments, I'm terrified I might be here forever, Griner wrote in the letter. Oh my God, that's so...
I know, it's terrible.
She continues, I realize you're dealing with so much, but please don't forget about me and the other American detainees, Griner continued. Please do all you can to bring us home. I voted for the first time in 2020, and I voted for you. I believe in you. I still have so much good to do with my freedom that you can help restore. I miss my wife. I miss my family. I miss my teammates. It kills me to know they are suffering so much right now. I am grateful for whatever you can do at this moment to get me home.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's intense.
Yeah.
Whew. Well, our next story, this is actually some good news. I mean, for advertising companies, I guess. I know I'm about to cry.
Oh, wait a second. I know, but wait. But so what? So they're going to let weed ads now on TV?
Yeah. So our next story, House passes bill permitting weed. I'm pressing the wrong spot.
Because I got to do here and you got to do there. It's like there's two things that have to happen.
This is so funny, guys. Okay, so House passes bill permitting weed ads on TV and radio. The House of Representatives this week passed legislation to permit cannabis and advertising on broadcast television and radio as part as part of a broader appropriations measure. The U.S. House of Representatives this week passed a bill that would permit cannabis advertising on broadcast television and radio stations. The legislation is included as part of the fiscal year 2023 Financial Services and Federal Government Appropriations Bill, which was passed by lawmakers in the House on Wednesday. Under the provisions of the Appropriations Bill, the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, would be barred from using appropriated funds to deny a broadcaster a license, renewal, or sale application for airing cannabis advertising in jurisdictions that have legalized marijuana.
Wow.
So now, if you live in a legal state, you're going to see weed commercials. Yeah. That's insane.
You know, but I would be interested.
We're coming to.
But I would be interested in seeing how they do it, because I don't think that they can just... I think they're going to have specifications on how it's...
Of course they are, of course. So the FCC would also be prohibited from requiring a station to file any early license renewal application for broadcasting cannabis ads.
Current regulations allow the FCC to revoke a license from broadcasters that air advertisements for federally illegal products, including weed, even in states that have passed laws legalizing cannabis. As a result, cannabis businesses are limited to advertising in other forums, including print newspapers and magazines, online, billboards, cable television, online, like occasionally.
Yeah.
Billboards, cable television, satellite radio, and social media.
Mostly, yeah.
Alex Siciliano, a spokesman for the National Associations of Broadcasters, said on Wednesday that the legislation passed in the House this week levels the playing field for cannabis advertising. For too long, local broadcasters have been stuck in a regulatory purgatory. Because of conflicting federal and state cannabis laws, Siciliano said in a statement. Today's passage marks an important step towards allowing cannabis broadcast... Today's passage marks an important step towards allowing broadcasters to receive equal treatment for cannabis advertising that many other forms of media have enjoyed for years. While we're pleased to see the House...
hasn't caused any problems for them, though. They still sell plenty without having to advertise.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, now I got to start this whole sentence again.
While we are pleased.
While we're pleased to see the House Act, broadcasters will continue to work with policymakers for a permanent resolution to this competitive disparity to the benefit of consumers.
So broadcasting groups applaud legislation. Of course they do. This is money.
Yeah.
So the spending bill was passed by the House Appropriations Committee in June. The legislation gives broadcasters access to the growing market for cannabis advertising, which is expected to total $18.5 billion this year alone. Wow, that's a lot of fucking money. We are pleased to see that this bipartisan language has advanced in the House today, Siciliano said in a statement last month. As the vast majority of states have legalized cannabis in some form, today marks a long overdue step toward finally allowing broadcasters to receive equal treatment regarding cannabis advertising that other forms of media have had for years. Just think about the impact this is going to have. Like, people are going to see weed on TV, like, advertised as a legitimate product. Like, think about that. Children are going to see it. And it's not a bad thing. It's going to normalize it.
Right.
You know, it's going to say it's for adults. I'm sure they're going to have certain rules that all the commercials have to say something or something. I'm sure we're going to get to that at some point in this article. But this is insane.
Yeah, this is pretty dope.
So David Donovan, president of the New York State Broadcasters Association, the NYSBA, thanked lawmakers in the House for recognizing the unfairness of the present situation with respect to cannabis advertising. The provision in this House appropriations bill is a major step forward for leveling the playing field. You guys have said that like 50 times for local broadcasters. Donovan said in a statement from the Broadcasting Industry Group, "We believe the law of the state in which a station is licensed should determine whether a station can accept cannabis advertising if they so choose. We look forward to working with members of Congress and the administration to help restore parity, sorry guys, between local broadcasters and other media outlets.
We believe the law of the state in which a station is licensed should determine whether a station can accept cannabis advertising if they so choose," Donovan added. "We look forward to working with members of Congress and the administration to help restore parity between local broadcasters and other media outlets."
That's the same thing.
Is it the same sentence? We're going to have to hire some people to edit our copy, which is basically just...
I just copy paste.
News. Before the bill becomes effective, it must still be passed by the Senate and signed into law by President Joe Biden. The NYSBA noted that gaining Senate approval for the legislation may be a challenge. The appropriations process is notoriously complex, which means the bill may get stalled. Congress is likely to adopt an interim budget through a continuing resolution. At some point, perhaps after the midterm elections, there will be a final vote. Even if it passes, the legislation is not a silver bullet. Because the cannabis advertising provisions were passed as part of an annual appropriations bill, the prohibition on the FCC taking action against broadcasters for airing weed ads would only be in effect for 1 year, beginning on October 1st.
1 year is at a test
For the
thing?
marijuana advertising terms to continue, the appropriations language must be reauthorized
every year. Oh, shit. So wait, this hasn't officially been passed yet.
No, it looks like it's going to, but even...
passed one more time. It was done in the House. Now it needs to be done
in the Senate.
And then it has to be renewed every year? That part of the bill?
Well, probably they need to revise it. I guess just to make sure that they're... I don't know. It's weird because why other things don't get revised on a regular basis?
Well, no, there's probably other things.
There's probably things, but there's probably other things that are not, that should be. Yeah. But I feel like before they pass this, they just need to federally decriminalize it and they got to do something there first before they're able to do this.
Yeah.
Because
it says here at some point after the midterm elections, there will be a final vote.
Right.
And if it passes this. Okay. All right.
So, but, we're on our way.
Think about that.
The Senate has the other bill now.
We've seen beer commercials all of our lives.
Oh, I know, for real. Even smoking commercials.
And so is this only for rec states, legal states, and it can only be how about medical states, and could it be advertised as medicine? Like they advertise pharmaceutical medicine on TV?
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's definitely not there yet, but they're gonna make stipulations, and I'm sure that they're not even gonna. I'm
curious what weed commercials are gonna look like.
And states might even
we should make a weed commercial.
Well, yeah, we got a lot of weed commercials. I actually need to work on one weed commercial for Truly right now.
I mean, you're saying, I wonder what weed commercial, the stuff that creators,
I know,
content creators,
but that's why, but exactly, but that's the thing too. Like, they're not gonna let people be smoking.
No,
People are not going to be shown smoking. I could bet.
They don't show
money
people
on
drinking that much. Oh yeah, they do. They show people drinking beer commercials, like they're holding the beers and like. Right?
Are they? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I think they show
drink.
like barbecue settings where like people have their beers in their hands.
Yeah, I know, but I don't.
Will it be like a social setting where there's like a joint being passed
No, I
around?
feel like they're going to try to keep.
They're not going to show bongs and shit.
Yeah, I don't think that's. Yeah, I don't. This is. No,
I don't know. We'll
no,
see. This
no.
is if it even continues. This is an interesting story. I want.
It is an interesting story because, yeah, I just don't think it's gonna be all free, nilly willy.
Of course not. There's going to be something. Our next story: Senate Dems ready to introduce the cannabis bill hearing scheduled next week. Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader in the Senate, had said that the marijuana reform bill would be introduced before the August recess. With Congress set to break for its traditional August recess, and with this year's midterm elections drawing nearer, Democrats in the Senate finally appear ready to introduce the bill that would end the federal prohibition on pot. The Senate Subcommittee on Criminal Justice and Counterterrorism has scheduled a hearing for next week that is titled Decriminalizing Cannabis at the Federal Level, Necessary Steps to Address Past Harms. The chair of the subcommittee, Senator Cory Booker, has taken a leading role in crafting the Senate's cannabis reform legislation.
The hearing is scheduled for Tuesday. Bloomberg had reported previously that Senate Democrats intended to introduce the bill this week. Whenever the legislation drops, it will represent long-awaited action from a Democratic caucus that has moved methodically on cannabis reform, despite repeated pledges from party leaders that it will get it done. At the beginning of April, Democrats in the House of Representatives passed their own pot legalization package, the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act, which would deschedule cannabis from the Controlled Substances Act. Senate Democrats said they would move forward with their own cannabis reform bill that has been overseen by Booker, Oregon Senator Ron Wyden, and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. After previously saying that the Senate would release its own version by the end of April, Schumer said that the bill would likely be introduced closer to the congressional recess in August. And after a recent suggestions that the Senate Democrats might be looking to offer a more modest reform package, it now appears that they will seek to match the House and end the federal prohibition as well.
Yeah, I'm all in. Let's see that. Politico reported last month that Schumer doesn't have the votes to pass the sweeping marijuana decriminalization bill, despite repeatedly touting his support for ending federal prohibition. We read that. And that legalization is leading Senate Democrats to look for a compromise on weed. But Bloomberg reported last week that Democrats will indeed introduce the bill that Booker, Wyden, and Schumer have been working on. The Cannabis Administration Opportunity Act, which will also remove pot from the Controlled Substances Act, although it would also give states discretion to establish their own cannabis laws. Bloomberg noted that the legislation faces long odds in the evenly divided chamber, with 60 votes necessary for passage. The bill faces significant opposition from Republicans in the chamber and even some Democratic members. President Joe Biden has long said that he is in favor of decriminalization of cannabis, but not outright legalization. We reported on that last week, though he has struggled to explain the distinction. You don't know the difference. Earlier this week, Biden reiterated his belief that no one should be in prison for the use of marijuana. We talked about that last week, and said that he is working with Congress on a bill to fulfill his promise to release inmates serving time for pot-related offenses.
It is unclear whether he supports the House's MORE Act or the Senate's Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act. Despite the slow motion progress of the bill in the Senate, Schumer has been unequivocal in his support for sweeping cannabis reform. "We will move forward," Schumer told Politico last year. Biden said he's studying the issue, so obviously you want to give him a little time to study it. He's had plenty of fucking time, I think. I want to make my argument. I said that, not Chuck Schumer. I want to make my arguments to him as many other advocates will, but at some point we're going to move forward, period.
Period.
Period,
and that's
poo.
on period.
And that's on period, poo. In 2018, I was the first member of the Democratic leadership to come out in support of ending the federal prohibition. I'm sure you ask, well, what changed? Well, my thinking evolved. When a few of the early states, Oregon and Colorado, wanted to legalize All the opponents talked about the parade of horribles. Crime would go up, drug use would go up, everything bad would happen, he added. The legalization of states worked out remarkably well. They were a great success. The parade of horribles never came about, and people got more freedom, and people in those states seemed very happy.
Yes. In
Happy.
fact, a parade of money came to those states. Like,
Very, very happy.
schools get so much more
The
funding.
schools very, very happy. The people very, very happy.
Infrastructure. People are happy because they're high. Like,
Yeah.
just like, chill the fuck out.
Yeah,
you
bro.
know, like,
Give it up,
weed's
brah.
legal already.
Give it up, brah.
Where's I Love You Miami? We don't have I Love You Miami here.
Oh, I don't know. Get rid of News Nugs, though.
Okay.
And then we'll do this.
All right, we gotta add a "I Love You Miami" caption there.
Notes.
Notes for next episode.
Bring in a caption.
So, "I Love You Miami," our segment on Florida news. This story is not cannabis related. Again, here we go. Florida is sending $450 back to school checks to select families. No.
Then the children's is happy and the parents are happy.
Yeah, I mean, everything's gotten more expensive, so hopefully this helps people with getting school supplies. You got a little shitload of stuff when your kid goes back to school. So with nearly 59,000 families in Florida set to receive a one-time $450 check from the state of Florida, the recipients run the range of the most needy in the Sunshine State. The $450 checks, which went into distribution this month, are part of a state plan in part to offset the burden of inflation through a program called Hope Florida, a pathway to prosperity. According to the Florida Department of Children and Families, Floridians enrolled in the state's welfare program will receive the money.
The Florida Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program is designed to help needy families achieve self-sufficiency, explains a federal website. State officials say Floridians need not apply for the check as they've already identified eligible recipients. Who is eligible for the $450 check from Florida? Eligible recipients include the following: foster parents, relative and non-relative caregivers, families enrolled in the program before July 1st, and people enrolled in guardianship assistance programs.
Other financial help. This isn't the first time DeSantis, who is seeking re-election, ships out a round of checks. In April, he signed off on $1,000 checks for Florida's first responder community as a token of appreciation amid the pandemic. That project cost taxpayers $100 million. The cost of this latest round, a $35 million slice of Florida's $109.9 billion budget. Billion, holy shit! $109.9 billion budget.
$109.9 billion.
And this is 35 million of that billion. That's not that much. So much money. Among other consumers' relief efforts, the back-to-school sales tax holiday is on the horizon. School supplies, including clothes and computers, will become tax-free through August 7th, starting Monday. Governor Ron DeSantis and lawmakers also approved a plan to eliminate the state's 26.5 cents per gallon gas tax. Oh, they're going to remove that? Through October. The budget writer said October was chosen because Florida has fewer tourists then, and the break can be targeted more toward state motorists. States, including California, are also working to lessen the economic pain of inflation for residents by providing $1,050 to its lowest earning residents. Colorado and Maine, among others, are following suit.
Where does the money come from? Here, take that out. The money is funded largely through the American Rescue Plan, a COVID-19 relief initiative approved by Congress and President Joe Biden in March 2021. The national plan included $1 billion in pandemic emergency assistance funds, the first new funding in more than a decade for the federal welfare program known as Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or TANF, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. The funds, which are distributed on states through federal block grants, allow states to give short-term financial benefits to TANF recipients through September 2022.
Well, that's good because obviously people that are participating in TANF, I didn't know that
existed.
Well, so it's welfare benefits basically. They're gonna need that because school supplies. You'll see Your kid's going to kindergarten.
Oh my
this
God.
year.
Yeah. I don't even want to. Oh my God.
Your daughter's going to kindergarten this year. You're going to get that list of all the things because the teachers don't get a lot of stuff and they need stuff for their classroom.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff you're giving is stuff for them to use in the classroom with the whole class.
Right. Yeah. Also, like putting the responsibility back on the parents too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't even get me started on the education.
But if we
system.
legalized weed and the schools got more money, maybe we wouldn't have that problem.
Well, I don't know. Well, hopefully. It looks like we're going there. I don't know if we'll get there before kids are out of high school, but you know. This next interview is very fun. We got to speak to Bianca Snyder, or as you may know her, High Society Mama. Here is the interview. We hope you enjoy it. No?
Well,
Right.
I know that most of our listeners definitely know who you are, but for those that don't, can you give us a little background about yourself and High Society, your brand?
Yes.
Of
So I go by High Society Mama on my social media. My goal is to inspire mothers to be confident in their choice to use cannabis and help people feel more comfortable with it. I have a farm in Southwest Michigan where we grow artisanal hemp under the name Society's Plant. And we have a wide variety of items in our shop, from CBD gummies, Delta 8, Delta 10, THCO. So I've been playing with the sort of alternative cannabinoids because there's a lot of people out there that don't have access to all the other, stuff that a medical state would have. So it's exciting to bring high quality that I know is, tested, and I can, vouch for that quality, because there's a lot of sort of shady people in this space, especially getting into those alternative cannabinoids. So it was a interesting decision that I sort of really was in flux about, but I think that we're doing a good job at, bringing those and allowing people access to plant medicine in all sorts of different forms.
Yeah, you do a lot of educating too as well. We see a lot of your posts where you kind of combine them. What is your favorite cannabinoid? Do you have one?
Man, I was saying recently how I've been really working on like playing with the different products and really getting a feel for them. And I'm like, all of my smoking devices, vessels, all of the flower is just like going bad because I've been like on this gummy rampage, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to try this. I need to like try an entire THCO gummy to see how it feels so I can like talk about it. And then I got to the point of being like, well, this is just easy now. And so I just keep popping gummies, and they're really, really good gummies too.
Yeah. And once you get the hang of how they work and when, to take them, like it's really great experience for those who can do edibles and stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. And I've like gone through different phases of only smoking joints, or like, because my husband loves joints.
You've done moments where you've isolated like a specific one?
I mean, yes, definitely. And what one that I really think has been interesting now is the Delta 10, and like specifically for it. It's surprising how like energizing it is. And so I had been told that it was like a sativa, but the other day I was like, I don't believe it. And I was like, it was bedtime, and I was like, I'm going to just take a whole one and see how it goes. But it was nighttime. I hadn't taken it at night because I'd always been taking it during the day. And I was up till 5 a.m. 2 nights ago. And I was like,
usually cannabis helps you sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talk about an energetic. That's
for real.
I mean, literally, I was laying in bed wide awake,
It's
And
like having coffee.
I was like, I'm putting down my phone. I'm going to bed. And I was like, coming up with new businesses. And I mean, the next morning, my husband's like, no, you cannot do that.
You know
Because
what?
I was like, I set him down and I was like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. We're going to do that. And he's like,
you just reminded me. You and I share the same birthday.
that's right. We're birthday twins.
Oh, so my sister too has the same birthday as you guys.
I was about to
No
go.
way.
I was about to go, man. Coming up with business ideas and that kind of shit sounds very like something I would do. I mean, you ask Jay. Sometimes I bought like domain
On a wing.
I'm like, oh yeah,
That's a great idea. Is the domain
Let's
available?
Do it. It's happening.
Everybody's like, okay.
Right? Yeah, no.
That's how Pot Smoking
there.
Moms came to be.
It's the Aries vibe coming in hot.
Exactly. That's why I was
Watch out.
like, damn, oh yeah, she's an Aries too.
Oh
It
yeah.
sounds like we need some Delta 10 to help us like make those things. Woo.
Yeah, just during the day.
During the day.
I'll get you guys a
brainstorming
little
sesh.
goodie bag packed up for you, so you can try them all.
yes.
And so we also, my favorite right now is the we have some hemp derived Delta 9 gummies that are 1-to-1, 12 milligrams with CBD, 15 milligrams of CBD, and those are great. I just love them. I mean, I love a good like edible for like, you know, Disney World and whatnot. Like those kinds of experiences.
Yeah.
I find edibles are just the way to go. And so that was like a fun one to get to add to our repertoire, because surprisingly how it works, it's crazy that it's legal, but it's legal right now. So
It's
I'm
a loophole
okay,
right now.
I'll put it out.
Thank you, Farm Bill.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Right. I mean, that's part of the cannabis industry right now, is you're like rolling with
loophole.
Yeah, rolling with the loopholes, just trying to make it, and you have to just go for it. Seize the day whenever you can.
I wish they would just let it be a plant and just
give it back to us, free it, give it back to the people. It shouldn't be so regulated.
Regulated.
Tax regulated.
Right. I know. It's so sad to see how much of the business is just getting, it's like people who should be doing well are just getting annihilated. People who don't care about, you know, people's wellness are thriving, and everything is starting to go sideways in the world right now.
Yeah,
at least in America right now.
It feels like
we need cannabis more than ever.
Right?
These times.
We're gonna all light our joints from the fire that is the dumpster fire that is America right now.
Yes, it will be possible.
So how did you come to be in the cannabis industry? How did you come to be here?
Yeah. So I'm really not digging. I have this
It's right over your head.
It's like I have like a crown of plant above me. So getting into the cannabis space, my husband has worked in cannabis since 2011 or 2011, 2012-ish. And I worked in the liquor industry my entire career. Ever since the day I turned 21. Before I turned 21, I worked for Honest Tea. I worked for Red Bull. So, I mean, I've been in beverage galore land. And I started when I got pregnant. I stopped drinking and never really like heavily picked it back up. I mean, occasionally I'll, you know, have a few drinks, but for a while it was like I wasn't drinking at all, but I was working in the liquor industry still. I was a sales manager. I managed like multiple states. And I just started to feel bad about pushing alcohol on people and like continuously needing to push more to make my sales goals. And so I knew that I needed to make the transition into cannabis, and we were working on getting a license in Michigan. And that's when I started High Society Mama to learn more about the space, and really with the focus on women. And I had another Instagram account that became Society's Plant that was more focused on the general market. And so I sort of had these two Instagram accounts where I was getting a feel for things. And the deal with the license that we were working on fell through, and we already had our farm that we grow on now, but we had it since 2012. It was sort of just like our weekend summer house to escape Chicago. And when the farm bill came out and the Michigan hemp program came out, we were like, hey, we already know how to grow indoors. Let's just try and grow out in that field that's sitting there doing nothing. So my husband had gone to like permaculture, get his permaculture certificate. So he was like, well, let's do it. And the main intent was just to do something a little bit different. And our focus is really on that artisanal craft, like smokable hemp product. And there's a lot of really big hemp growers, and we are not a really big hemp grower. We only grow on half an acre. And even within that half an acre, we don't put down any plastic over the weeds. We like grow all like companion plants and cover crops to help regenerate the soil. And so when I created Society's Plant as a brand, I left the liquor industry in 2018. And we started growing summer of 2019 was our first growing season. And so I was in brand development for Society's Plant and got that launched in 2020 in the winter, right before the pandemic, and then did a whole lot of learning during the pandemic on how to run an online store. And all the while, High Society Mama had continued, to grow and be an educational resource. But I really had to sort of learn how to market and sell my products in a way that like resonated for me without feeling cringy and like
Yeah,
I
get you.
don't want to shove products down people's throats. That's not I'm not trying to be a walking billboard for my brand, but it's also my business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way it's not just the way I make money, it's the way our whole family makes money.
Right.
And so I definitely had to like shift gears a little bit and really like give that some thought. And luckily during the pandemic, there was lots of time for that. So I feel like I was able to make that transition, and I definitely would like for it to be going better, but I feel like I'm doing okay.
You're kicking ass. You're
Yeah.
doing fantastic.
You are.
For
I-
only being a little over 2 years in, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you. We all know you.
I like it. I go back and forth where I'm like, oh, this is so hard.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
trust me. We feel you 100%. It's got like, and I feel like the pandemic gave us all a chance to really sink our teeth into virtually, like into finding people and finding our way in, and seeing where everyone was at, and what stories we wanted to hear and put out there, and we got to connect so much. I think the pandemic gave us a really huge time to like
we
reflect
were
and
also
connect.
separated, having to stay home, that we seeked out that connection more online.
Right.
Like I never thought I'd develop relationships that I've developed until after that. Like
Right.
never had online relationships.
I mean, I loved the pandemic for the sake of slowing down. And
Right.
even though we're like, 2 years out from that initial, I don't feel like last summer, I felt like we were still in it.
Right.
And so it's like, this is the first summer where it's really felt like we're not in it.
A little more normal, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not ready to go back to the old. It's like, I'm having this all the social stuff is
Right.
like almost a little bit too much. I'm like, hold on, I want to go back to just like permitting.
I feel like we're gonna be more selective with the things that we do and the people that we see, because now we're like, we have that excuse. Like,
You don't know what tomorrow brings. So
yeah, and you
don't have time to waste on things that are not worth your time.
I love that. I love that a lot. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm in full agreement. Like, yes.
For real, I think we all value our time a little bit more. We're all getting older. We value our time a little more. And we're just like, we're done with the bullshit, right?
Right. I don't want to waste my time with that anymore. Agreed.
Formalities and stuff too, like just for the sake of the formality. It's like, oh my God, we have real relationships to work on. I don't need to be working on all the superficial shit.
Right.
And I feel like now cannabis creators, we all are feeling a little bit down in the dumps because there's like a lull in the discoverability for cannabis creators.
Right. You can't, it's like we're working just as hard as other content creators and we're getting nothing in return.
Yeah.
Like for the amount of content that we put out, we should be growing so much faster, but hashtags don't work. We get violations for like sneezing.
Yeah, it's
like, you know,
your
like,
videos don't get plays or like getting
exposure.
Yo, I feel like when they first opened up Reels, everybody's videos were getting like I mean, you're not like every video, but like most of your videos were getting a chance. And it is like now you're barely getting people to look at it who you tagged and shit. It's like, how do we?
And yeah. And I mean, it's like the space gets so much more saturated that Instagram Reels is more saturated because people are finally coming around to like wanting to try to create content. And so I've had a couple of conversations with people about it, and I definitely enjoy scrolling on TikTok more than I enjoy Instagram, because Instagram, I swear, I used to feel that way about TikTok sometimes, where you'd hear the same song over and over again on TikTok. And now I don't find that when you scroll, it's the same thing. But on Instagram, it's like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to vomit if I hear this song.
They've also made so many changes recently in terms of like, they're showing people who you don't even follow, and you had to like forego them showing you that so that you can pay attention to the people you follow and the people who follow you
on Instagram.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the grid changed into a weird like blow up thing. I don't know if you guys noticed that recently. Like when you scroll it, like if it blows up the feed and it obscures the rest of your
top part.
Right.
It's like if you touch on it, it expands too.
It's weird.
What is going on?
Oh my God.
They've been changing a lot of things. Yeah, they've been changing a lot of shit lately.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of glitches lately too.
Oh my God. I scroll through videos and sometimes it gets stuck where it'll show you half the video and then it'll start again and then it'll show you the half and then it'll start again. And you try to juke it and it still keeps it's so glitchy, especially when you're like working on a video that you're making that you're trying to upload and it's like you've edited within the app and it's just like
Oh, I know. For a while there I was like, I will not edit in the app. I can't bring myself to do this again. It pains me too much to like start over. And then now, after beginning my account shut down like twice in a row,
so you got your account taken that. Oh my God, there's so many people recently.
No, it's crazy.
I'm so scared.
I know. I'm trying to really mind my P's and Q's.
I don't put any cannabis hashtags.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I don't even write the word cannabis.
I have starting to like totally,
or at least like use if you're like do an A with a dash on top, an I with a squiggle, or whatever, end with a squiggle.
It's so sad that we have to do that
for cannabis.
Right. I know, it's so ridiculous. And then the second time that my account got taken down, I'm almost positive it was because of my talking about Roe v. Wade.
Really?
Yeah, that some people who disagreed with me came onto my page and they reported me for cannabis just because they didn't agree with what I was saying for the
Yeah, that's also shitty because we're unprotected when people want, and I let me tell you, I've been so quiet and glad that none of our videos have blown up because I get provoked and I try to ignore as much as possible, but sometimes I like just cannot, and then that's when the
What you
fucking
gotta
that
do is
happens.
type it all out
Block,
and
delete.
delete
That's
it.
it. That's all you
Yes,
gotta do
block
is
and delete.
block them and delete them and just try to get it out of your mind because there's no point. The second you say something
Do
they
not
don't like, they're
engage.
gonna try to fuck you up
I know.
digitally. Try to fuck you up digitally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate it. We lost a TikTok account like that.
Mhm.
I misunderstood something and they being cocky and then fucking forget it. They were like, oh yeah.
So,
Report.
I know. And that's the other part that's like so disheartening is that it's like there's people who like just report you out of like vengeance.
Yeah.
And there's like no protection from that. There's no repercussion.
Right.
It's like we're getting taken down by our own people.
That's why that's why block and delete. Not even like you see some say some shit that's off kilter. You're like, I mean, for real, because sometimes, sometimes the call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, I totally know.
yeah.
It's just crazy. And so it definitely, I mean, I agree that, and I mean, I think it's summertime, like traffic slows down a little bit and I'm trying to like practice giving myself grace and not stressing about, I'm like a pretty punctual, not punctual during the day, but punctual in terms of staying on task and posting every day. Like I might not post at the same time every day, but I am like, I'm going to post every day during the week.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take a step back and just do 4 days a week. And right now I've just had so many ridiculous things happening in my life. I'm like, I just need a break. I just need to chill.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like it's a bad time right now to like give myself that grace to be like,
Oh my God. I saw a thing today on Facebook or somewhere that said, if you don't give your body a break, your body's going to take a break and it's going to be unannounced to you. It's going to be whenever your body's like, I'm taking a break.
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Burnout.
So it's hard though, as a mom, sometimes it's hard to like, notice that prior to like, the part where you like lose your shit. I mean, for
You
me,
don't
Right.
always have the luxury to be able to notice that. So,
Right.
actually, how many kids do you have, Bianca?
I have one. He's
Me
6.
too. I'm one as well.
I feel like I'm doing really good with one.
Your one is done.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not mom enough to be like a mom influencer. Like, and
No, hey,
Oh my
take it from someone that has 2. You're doing great at 1. It fucking like, it's not, and I love my kids, but the mom part, man, that shit is hard. I do not like the mom part. And every
right. I'm like,
day-
I'm good. I'm good. I really am good. I've procreated. I spend lots of time with my little dude and he's happy and I still get time for me.
Yeah, for sure. And how do you talk to him? Like, I'm sure that you can get real educational since you grow it. Like, how have you approached the subject with him?
Well, I've gotten lots and lots. I feel like I have like all of the, cannabis parenting storybooks. And so as like I get the different ones, it's really fun to actually like go through them with them because I realized that there's some terminology that he doesn't know yet. And he's 6 now, and we've been educating him, since he was 2 or 3. And there's still things that like I haven't thought of to explain to him. And the one that most recently came up was why mommy gets high. And I asked him, I'm like, do you know what getting high means? And he's like, no. He's like, does it have to do with hemp? Because he sees the book and
he's already,
and he calls everything hemp, but he knows other words, but he knows them as I've introduced him through different books. Because it's like, some books, it's just a plant, says marijuana. And when he was really young, I would read the book and I'd replace marijuana with hemp, because hemp was just the word that we used. And then
it's
other
the same
times
thing. It's the same.
It's the same thing. And for all intents and purposes, when you have a 3-year-old and you don't know what words they're going to be repeating, and it's an easier word for them to say. And, if you're, who knows who they might say something to, but it was like the safer approach for me at that point in time. And it's evolved over time. But the most recent one was just explaining what getting high means. And I was like, whoa, I didn't think about that one. Because, in all of the education that we had given him, we just said things like, we use this just like any other medicine,
right.
And
even though I don't know, I'm not a big fan of the term get high, because that is really, it is kind of associated with negative
with other
it
drugs.
It is.
Yeah.
I know, I felt really weird having to explain that, because you don't want to teach them that it's a bad thing,
right?
But it feels kind of dirty.
Yeah.
It's like
when you say it like that,
we're doing something bad,
right?
And it's like trying to figure out if that's us in our head with our preconception of it and what we're bringing into it versus like how are we explaining it to them. And then there's like also like the crack kind of get high.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do we explain that? How do we differentiate it? And it's, that's what's sort of interesting and fun being in a position, like we're in, where we're able to have open conversations with other moms and come up with other ideas of how we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like the more that we have these conversations, and without having these conversations, like maybe I hadn't thought through, that word or another word. And I'm fine with the word marijuana. I'm not a anti the marijuana word. I think it's I think it has been used in a negative connotation, but I also think it's part of our law. You read every single state's marijuana law and it uses the word marijuana. So why? Right. So it's like, why are we trying to like make that into a dirtier word? Right. You're not using it in any derogative form.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like everybody does have their specific favorite way to refer to it. I don't know. I feel like as long as you know or you're familiar with the term marijuana and why it's like bad connotations, I don't think it's necessarily a bad word to use, as long as you're like familiar with, where it comes from and why some people are like not up against it. But like my favorite word is weed. I love saying the word weed. It's so easy.
I agree. I think it's great.
I
use cannabis a lot for like technical talk.
Right.
I say, hey, you want to smoke some weed? And if I'm specifically talking about hemp versus THC, I use the word THC for marijuana.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to using the word marijuana. I think from my time of thinking that I shouldn't use the word marijuana, I got used to saying THC. Because I don't, there's a lot of people that use the word cannabis as marijuana. And I'm like, well, that hemp is cannabis. So that word doesn't sum it all up for me. That sums up all of it, not just THC.
Yeah.
So,
So you said you got into the cannabis, like you started your farm and all that in like 2020. That's when you got like into the industry. When did you start consuming cannabis? Like when was the first time you smoked weed?
I stole my mom's joints in like high school grade. I want to say probably like 7th, 8th grade.
Damn.
And I remembered as a child that there was this cigar box, like an old Cuban cigar box. And my parents would keep it on top of their like big speaker sound system. And they'd get it out and they'd bring it out onto like our day bed, which is now in my farmhouse. But it's like our living room bed sofa, and they'd sit with their friends. They'd have a rolling tray and my mom would roll the special cigarette up. That's what I thought they were. I thought they were special cigarettes until I was like sitting in, dare class. And I was like, you're telling me my parents were smoking pot that whole time? And I had no idea. And so then I was like, okay, now that I know my mom doesn't smoke special cigarettes, eventually I was like, okay, now I know exactly what to steal from her. And I mean, my mom would have like a half a joint here, half a joint there. And I don't think I ever really inhaled, but it was the, like attempting it factor.
Yeah.
I went to college in Boulder, Colorado then. So
say less.
Yeah. So we had some 420s like on campus on Fair and Field, and it's like in the middle of these dorms. And you'd smoke out in the open and there'd be a giant cloud over the field. And I went to college in 2000. 2000. End of sentence.
You sound around our age.
Yep. Where you're like 2000, that was, oh my God, that was 22 years ago.
Stop it.
Old.
I know. Trust me, I know.
So that was my like first test. And then when my husband, then we would like here and there, I definitely have some like ridiculous stories of, in our 20s, getting too high, making pot brownies and having no idea how much was in it. And I had one time that I went to teach a fitness class in the morning, and we'd put butter on potatoes, which now butter on like pot butter,
right
on potatoes does something very unique.
Oh my God.
The starch of it, there's some combination of the starch with the like butter and the way you metabolize the potato starch.
And it's first thing in the morning.
I need to try that. Maybe that will help for it to work.
20 hours, like mega high. Because I think it's like the carbs, like heavy carbs, like takes a while to like break it down in your system.
Right. The one thing I think is that I don't like about gummies or edibles in general is the inconsistency, because you're right. There are some times where you eat it and it takes a while because you have to have that right like amount of fat for it to process and stuff at the right time. Because sometimes it could be delayed, or you'll eat something later and then it'll creep up on you and you'll be like, oh shit, there it is. When you eat like a fatty meal, right?
Right. Yes. And so we were watching a movie, eating potato with like French fries with the butter. And we went to bed, fell asleep during the movie, woke up in the middle of the night. I was so high, I couldn't walk. I could not walk to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, once I did make it to the bathroom, I was like, I'm gonna sleep this off. I have to teach aerobics in the morning for 2 hours, added corporate gym. And I woke up in the morning and I was like, I don't know if I can drive. Like I'm still this high. And so then I did drive. It was a little bit terrifying. Got to class and, this is like 12 years ago. So I was like, I accidentally took an Ambien that was a extended release Ambien sleeping pill. And I'm like, I thought it wasn't an extended release, but it is. So I'm a little bit groggy. Like I had to actively lie to my class.
I know,
because
so
it was more normal,
a little bit, right?
right? More normal to accidentally take an Ambien time release than it would be to explain to them that I had made pot French fries the night before.
Which sounds so good. That sounds so
Really good.
delicious. Now I'm
Just
gonna,
plan to be high for a really long time.
Don't mind me. I'm just making note of this. Canna butter and potatoes. How were the potatoes made? Was it mashed potatoes? Was it a baked potato?
No,
Like
we just slice them up on the mandolin and cover the sheet with butter and lots of garlic salt, and then just gloop up as much butter as you can with the potatoes.
oh my God.
First of all, that sounds delicious.
Least.
And then, see, because edibles never worked for me, but I want to try this starch combination thing, see if something happens.
I want to see if something happens. Please keep me posted because I've been too afraid to be high for that long ever again. Except for it did happen to me at us at MJ Biz. We went to we went straight from the convention to an after party, and we were trying out these drink shots that each one had 80 milligrams in it of THC.
Wow.
But there were coffee drinks. They're called I think it's called Get Therapy or Drink Therapy. It's
Okay.
iced coffee. And so we were exhausted after being at the convention. They said that they were unmedicated. So we were like, let's try all the flavors.
Oh my
coffee.
God.
Oh,
Because they were
80
unmedicated.
each? How many?
80 each. And there was 4 flavors.
no, and they didn't tell you that they were medicated?
They said that they were unmedicated.
Oh my
But
God.
I'm like, I don't know if they switched them by accident. I don't know.
They gave out the wrong ones.
I have no idea, but we were there for maybe 30 more minutes. We got in the taxi to go back to our hotel and change. And on the taxi ride, we were like, I'm really high. I'm really high, already. And I'm like, I just hit, I took one puff of someone's joint, waiting for our Uber. I'm like, there's no way I'm this high.
Yes.
And we got back to our room. We even had a babysitter set up, an overnight babysitter, so we could go out in Vegas. And it was our first time ever having an overnight babysitter. And we were stuck in bed in our hotel room.
Man.
But you
Not
slept well, right? You
Oh my
slept
God.
very well with no baby in sight.
No baby.
And to interrupt that.
I know
We
that
did
still sounds like a good
It
time
still
to
sounds
me.
dreamy, right? It just wasn't you don't plan to go to Vegas
You know
to
what,
get a
though?
babysitter
No.
and stay in your
Right.
hotel room not
Absolutely
doing
not.
anything.
I know, but I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like stoners we just want to smoke and chill.
I'm totally a fan. But I was also staring at the ceiling, telling my husband I'm definitely going to die. I'm like, this is it. I was that level of high.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, I know better. He's like, come on, you're not going to die. You know this. I'm like, I think I might.
You're like, wow, I've never pushed the envelope this far.
I've never been that high.
I will say that I'm not some people can take 100 milligram edible, and that's not me.
Right.
Not me.
Yeah, I can, and nothing happens.
Right. Some people, it's just nothing. And that is
Yeah.
definitely not me.
It's like
I need to find
wasabi.
hacks like this. I'm going to
It's
try
like-
this potato thing.
Yes.
Oh, me.
I need to know. I need someone else to
I
test
know.
this theory.
Hey, let's make them potatoes.
Yeah. I really think it's that starch combination. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. It could have just been really strong butter. I don't know.
Could have been really
Could have been a combination of both.
Yeah, both. I don't know. But yes.
Some of my favorite pictures I've seen you share is you with your son at Burning Man.
Oh, yes.
I've always thought those pictures were great. Like, how many Burning Man have you been to?
We've
And
been to 10.
10.
Wow.
Wow. You know, I knew you had to have been there a lot for you to go with your
Our
with your
son.
son. It's like a home to you, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes. It's definitely, we're very comfortable there. We've had like an art car, and we're with a wonderful camp, and it's very it's pretty easy for us. And it was a lot easier when he was like little too. I mean, I went when I was like 9 months pregnant,
mhm.
8.5 months pregnant, knowing that it's actually 40 weeks and not,
Yeah.
you know how long pregnancy takes. Sometimes I say 8.5 months and people are like, oh, could have given birth there. I was like, yeah, I was still like a month out. I was okay. And then we went also when he was like 9 months or 10 months old, and one almost 2 and almost 3, and then the pandemic. So yeah.
Wow.
And then
It's fun though.
after
It is a good
38
time. It's lots of, very interesting people and cool experiences and fabulous art, and just a like whole different sort of perspective on the way that people come together and commune because it's like a pop-up city. It's really like an entire 70,000 person city that just pops up in the desert.
Yeah, that shit is
all gets cleaned
so
up.
dope. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. I've always wanted to go. I've never been. I've done a lot of music festivals and stuff like that, but never Burning Man. What kind of, like, I know that it's a lot of like art installations and then things of that nature, and then they burn it all. What else?
Some of
What
it
other
gets
kind of
burned, not
things?
all of it.
Yeah, not all of it. Yeah. What other kind of things are going on at Burning Man? Like, what interactions do you have? Like, what entertainment is there?
Yeah, so any entertainment that's there is put on, produced, entirely planned by regular people of Burning Man. So different camps come together and have different offerings. So maybe you're at a camp that gives out Jello shots every day at noon and serves bacon at 10 p.m. and has hookah dome that is always going if you want to go hang out with your friends in a hookah dome, or if like, I mean, I'm just like,
That's all.
saying
That shit sounds
there's like
Our camp
healing
would serve cafecito every day at
and
3:05.
yeah. And I mean, you could have the, moms that gather to hang out and sesh while
The kids play.
while the kids play, and you have like some sort of project thing that's set up for the kids with like a ball pit or something, and all the moms want to go there because what you like, ball pits like basically free babysitting.
Yeah.
That's what those should be called.
Yeah, like a padded
kind of like a
playground.
trampoline. I mean, and there's people who bring giant trampolines that set up like a whole trampoline park. And there's people that bring, I mean, literally you name it, someone's brought it. Like,
how many days is it?
8. But you can get like an early entry pass to get there and help build your art project or build your camp so that things are already set up when like the majority of the population comes in. So,
wow.
But I mean, just the most creative art pieces that you've ever seen. And
and it's in the middle of the desert. How's the sky? Is there a lot of stars?
Yes, it's interesting because depending on if the full moon is near, or like I've been years where it's like a new moon, and if you like try to get on your bike and go anywhere and you don't have a headlamp, you literally can't see like 5 feet in front of you. And then there's other years where it's like you could bike everywhere without a headlamp because it's a full moon. So it really depends on, how it lands. Yeah. But you're very susceptible to the weather, and there's like giant dust storms. And when I say dust storms, it's like you can't see 3 feet in front of you.
Oh my God, I'd be terrified of that. What?
It's really scary, especially if you like driving or trying to bike anywhere during it, because if you can't see 3 feet in front of you, you have no if you're trying to get across the whole city, it's a big open area with just lots of art. And so it's like you start to learn where the art pieces are so that you know your way around and you know how to get back to your camp. But people who are not very like
seasoned,
like when they're first new and they're trying to wrap their brain around like what this giant city is. Like, I mean, the actual city, they like outline all the streets and it's organized and there's street names. And so you
get assigned a spot.
Yeah. There's certain like a certain number of camps. They're called theme camps, and they get assigned a spot. They know exactly where they're camping. They can tell people like, oh, if you want a slushie at 1 p.m. on Thursday, come to 530 and G as the intersection. And we're on the corner. Or if you want to,
It sounds so cool.
I know, it does.
Experience it so bad.
Pot smoking moms go to Burning Man.
Woo! Yes, make it happen.
I feel like we're at this point we're old and city girls. So,
which city are you guys at? Where are you guys?
Miami.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, you're straight across from Naples.
Yeah.
Yep. We actually had
the gauntlet
this past weekend. Yeah, she drove over here. Naples is okay to drive to. It's not too bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
Their beaches are nice.
Yeah. I used to go to Miami all the time. Winter Music Conference to the max for like.
Oh my God! You used to come to Ultra or just Ultra or just Winter Music Conference?
Just Winter Music Conference. We went to Ultra twice. Like I want to say like our very first year that we went, and maybe like one other year that we got a free ticket or something. But it got
any memorable bands that you saw?
Oh my God. I mean,
we snuck in one
incredible bands at Ultra. I mean, I think like one of the years that we went to Ultra, it was like Tiesto was headlining.
It's mostly electronic music at Ultra.
Yeah,
but like we saw Chemical Brothers. I mean, I guess they're not a band, but we had paid some guy who snuck us in that worked there. That's how we were desperate to go. We were like, oh, we really want to go. We're like, oh my God, is this gonna work out? We're gonna get in trouble. That dude hooked us up. We got in. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's a good route.
Yeah, it was the only time we went, but because of the band, because of Chemical Brothers. But there's been it's a popular thing. It's cool. And Winter Music Conference also brings a lot of different things happening all around the city. We've gone to so many cool like underground free events during Winter Music Conference,
and that's where like once we started going a bit, we were like, we don't need to do Ultra. No, thank you. I don't need to be around like a bunch of
people doing drugs.
Right.
And you can find like,
but like obvious like
for some of these
young.
I mean, their eyes are rolling back in their head. Like, oh my God, too many of you. I can handle a couple of you, but this is way too many.
Agreed.
Like crowds, and that is a bunch of like sweaty people dancing really close. No, just take me to like.
I know.
I was at Ultra one year. I was at Ultra one year. It was in my 20s, in my early 20s, and I was I think it was probably Molly or E. I don't know. We were using a drug, okay?
Right.
And I run into my mother-in-law, who is also obviously also high on the same drug
Oh
I
my
am.
God.
Yes, mom.
And I'm like, it was really awkward.
God.
Right.
She was in a pink wig, I think it was.
You
I was
couldn't,
like,
and
whoa.
you had to say something. You couldn't just be like,
No,
walk
no, I
away
think
from
she
that?
grabbed me. It was
Oh,
like, oh my God, hi.
and you're
And
like, oh,
she was
hey,
fucked up. And she's like,
Oh, she was
guys.
so happy to see you.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, hey, at least that. At
She was
least,
happy about life. So seeing
right.
you just
It
was even
wasn't
better.
awkward in the moment, but now, like, I was like, later, I was like, I can't believe I ran into my mother.
It's hilarious.
That's so good. How did you two meet? And how long have you known each other?
It's so funny. We actually went to the same high school, but
and never met in high
we never
school.
met. Like we were friends with the same
The same
friend.
people, same
And
ish, yeah.
I had her husband in one of my classes, and I remember me and him used to disagree about things all the time and like shoot each other shitty looks, like, oh fuck this
Disagree
girl.
about the same things with other people.
Right. We'd be like, oh, we hate this, but fucking high school sucks, whatever. And then afterwards, a little after college, we started hanging
One of
around
my
in
friends started
circles.
dating her.
Right. And then I started hanging around in her circle.
He brought her around us more, and that's how we got to know her. And then they broke up, but we still stayed friends.
Yeah. 'Cause I'm-
Oh, solid. Yeah, no, I love the old connections. There's something special there.
Yeah, I mean, relationships have their ebbs and flows, and sometimes, every relationship has its moment and stuff. I don't know. I don't think we ever thought we would be doing a podcast. Well, we
No,
didn't. We brought
no.
And the
I never
number of
thought I'd be
things
doing
that
a
we did not
podcast,
think we would
period.
ever be doing. I mean, I just definitely never thought I definitely never thought I'd be doing any sort of this.
Anything in cannabis in general. Like,
I just didn't ever think it would ever be legal.
Exactly. That there's
At
a
all.
possibility to do something in cannabis. Like this thing that I
crazy.
would hide to do. I'd skip
Blows
class,
my
go
mind.
smoke weed.
Right.
I know.
I mean, people are like, why would you work in alcohol? And I was like, dude, I was 21, and what was cooler than working in alcohol? Like,
Exactly.
I freaking rocked
You're a
it. Like,
social
I had
person
expense
and-
accounts going to clubs and bars and restaurants all through my 20s and 30s. Like, can't beat a solid expense account that's like pays for fun.
And now
That pays for fun.
Girl, now who knows how
Right, and
fun
look
you're
where it
gonna have
landed me.
now.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to say it didn't, it definitely helped me to learn to do what I'm doing today, because it's different. I don't like to compare, cannabis to alcohol. I don't, but they are used in some of the same ways. There is crossover, and there's crossover in the way that it's regulated, and there will continue to be lots of crossover, especially as that comes out on the federal level. It's very likely that they'll regulate it very similar to alcohol. So
yeah, I mean, I would like for them to not keep tabs on how many ounces I'm taking home.
yeah, I know you guys have that like limit.
The
We have a
rolling
limit
limits.
too. Yeah, rolling limit too. You can't. They stagger.
You can't have more
for the
than a certain
month,
amount a
right.
week.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous.
Whoa, that's crazy. That's
yeah.
really weird. But
And
so then you can which it ultimately that kind of just opens up another layer of gray market.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
honestly,
if someone needs more, they're going to find a way to get more.
Yeah.
And
yes.
if it's paying someone else to go into the store, buy it under their name, even if
not even that, we'll still support a legacy market, as
absolutely
call it, because honestly,
I feel like they're just trying to push people to buy other products, because that rolling, it's only on the smokable flower.
Right.
It's
Right,
not
so
on
it's
all
teaching
the other
people-
products that they offer. You can get edibles, you can get other route methods, but smokable flower is the one that has that limit or each week.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Probably because
Well, when we first got our program,
too.
they didn't even have smokable flower available. It took a while before they even gave us that. We had only like vape
Ohio
pens and
still does not
concentrates.
allow smokable. They only allow you to vaporize flower. It's illegal in Ohio to smoke flower. They
Yeah,
sell flower, but it's
But like in a
illegal to
pod to
smoke
vape.
it.
That
Can you
shit is
believe
so
that?
whack. Why do people make all these stupid laws that contradict one another? Like, it's so
It makes
dumb.
no sense.
I was when I found that out, I was like,
Make it
what?
make sense. Make it make sense.
Yeah,
Right?
It's and that's the reason why you want them to do it right the first time, because then it's gonna take so much to go back and redo the shit again. You want them to regulate it the right way as soon as you have that opportunity, because then you're gonna be fighting for that shit and paying so much money to try to change a law that's already made.
I know. It's so complex.
Do you think we have a chance of federal legalization anytime soon with the way things have been kind of going?
I don't think, and I hate saying this, but I don't think we really want federal legalization yet, because I think that there needs to be more states coming online, sorting their stuff out and like coming online so that those states have a chance at establishing new businesses. And each time like a new state rolls out, it opens up so many more options for entrepreneurs and small businesses to open up and have a chance at the game. And I think when federal legalization happens, it's going to be a flood of pharmaceutical companies, Philip Morris, Constellation, who's already in the game, from the liquor industry, Diageo, like Jack Daniels. I mean, all of the big, or Brown Foreman, all the big companies that have stakes in other side industries are going to swoop in and either buy up a lot of the small companies and build out their distribution, or just start their own brands. And so the opportunity right now for people to actually get into the cannabis industry and be successful is protected. And so it's like this give and take that I think is just so tricky. I definitely think I would like to see first something passed to stop the cannabis arrests that are, and more people getting locked up. And I think that like a good initiative needs to happen on that.
That's number one priority for sure.
But would that be something that would have to be done on a federal level though? Yeah.
And so I mean, I am in favor of some kind of cannabis banking and
decriminalization.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
I think that needs to happen, but I think I think that there's like this little fine line that like, it's not that I would ever not support legalization, but I think that there are benefits to it that are helping people in the industry still own it without giving it up to the corporate.
Well, because I think it's still in a very
Years,
early stage, right? And honestly, I've never heard a take like yours before, but I agree. I mean, I feel like people need to figure out the system of doing it. But the thing is right. Like if it's once it's done, it's hard to go back and change it. So you can't. You're saying people should start getting familiar with it and getting into it now prior to getting all your ducks in a row prior to when the floodgates are opened, and then everybody, obviously anybody who has lots of money
Is
and is
going to try to get
already,
in.
yeah, is going to.
I mean,
I'm
Amazon's going to
sure
get
they're
in.
already, yeah, but I'm sure they're already got their greedy little fingers on something they're planning. But
They all do. They all
yeah,
do. I mean, just from when I like first sort of like, I still have like a lot of contacts in the liquor industry, and just from knowing what a lot of the executives are interested in, and they'll like pick my brain every once, so they'll be like, "Oh, I'd like to pick your brain." I know you would.
I bet.
And
Translation, free consultation, free
right.
consulting.
I'm like, yeah. So I mean, but it definitely, opens my eyes to that, like that I have, people that are pretty high up in big liquor companies asking me my thoughts on different things, and that just shows like, people are, they're sort of cherry picking how to enter what area they think that they can enter in. Like the liquor distributors are like continuously attempting to get a like cannabis distribution in place in various states.
It is the future.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing that we have to
Even though it feels like we're in
realize
the past right now. Cannabis is the future, even if
That's why I'm
it
like,
feels like
with the way things have been
1920.
going, I don't know. Are we going to keep progressing with cannabis, or are we going to start going backwards everywhere?
Right now, I've had my payment processor down for 2 months now. And the biggest issue that the banks have right now is smokable hemp. That's like their thing that they're the most concerned about. Like, I can get a new payment processor when I take down all of my smokables. So that's what I've now done. I'll be able to get them back, but I have to go get like
Oh my
all
God,
new
how
tests
it's
done.
like all the obstacles you have to jump through.
I know. I mean, that's what makes me so grateful, just being like, the number of times that we've talked about applying for a license in Michigan, because Michigan's not that hard to get a license in, but the prices right now in Michigan are plummeting. It's like just as bad as California.
We had friends who had a farm out there. We had interviewed them when we first started the podcast out in Michigan. They just moved back to Miami like 6 months ago because they were like, that shit tanked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what's like really challenging, is like you have to make the decisions on like, okay, do I want to take like my life savings and invest it into this opportunity that, like, is it going to work? I don't know. But I mean, I'm really happy to be on the hemp side, because red tape, people telling me what to do, is like not my jam.
I don't understand.
My fellow birthday sister knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the whole problem with smokable hemp. Like, it's legal. It's a legal crop. And how the hell do tobacco companies do business? Don't they have bank accounts? They smoke tobacco. Like, I don't understand. Like,
well, so here's the ridiculous
I understand with the weed. I understand with like,
right, with
marijuana,
high THC,
there are issues with that because it's federally not legal. But hemp is
right. And so, but what's messed up is this whole 0.3% THC. Like, once you start growing hemp for smokable flower, and you're growing these like you're intentionally growing it for nice, big, beautiful buds, and you're taking care of the plant and giving it nutrients and making it a really happy plant that's thriving out in the world, it's going to have more than 0.3%. Like the only way to keep it under 0.3% is to grow itty bitty hemp plants, chop them down and make it all into biomass. And they don't even like fully ripen is not the right word, but I'm going to use the word ripen.
Right. No, but I get it. But it's like,
and then we have to have a compliance test, and like someone from the state of Michigan comes out, tests our crop, like to confirm what's hot and over 0.3%, and anything that is over 0.3% at the time where this is before you cure it, before you cut it down, before you dry it. This is just like wet weight sample. And so if you pass that test, you have compliant hemp. It's legal hemp. You grew it. It passed the state tests. Anything that goes over 0.3%, you have to destroy it. So there's that. But then the issue is once you trim it to be this cute little, beautiful bud that doesn't have a bunch of dead leaves on it from drying, and you trim it all up and you're left with just that little nug and not all that extra, leafy stuff. Now it's not 0.3% anymore. It's 0.7% and 0.8%. And in that initial test where it was 0.3%, you'll have like 5% CBD. But then once you cure it, dry it, cure it, trim it, all of a sudden has 0.8% THC and 15% CBD. So, I mean, everything goes up, and it's just an impossible thing to, like, no one's growing amazing smokable flower unless it's over 0.3%. So we're in this, like, what do you do?
yeah, like, what do you do?
What the fuck do you do?
And I mean, like, and for a long time, my husband was like, we're not doing any post-test because I don't want to know that my hemp is non-compliant. So for a long time, we would just put up our original test results that said 5% CBD. And we'd have customers being like, why do you only have 5% CBD? I have this other company that's 20% CBD. And it's like, well, because it's legal, theirs isn't anymore. And so then our payment processor got bought by another bank that doesn't allow any CBD. So now I've been like having to go out, and I've spoken to so many payment processors, and everyone's like, we can totally get you approved. Delta 9 THC gummies, no problem. Delta 8 gummies, no problem. THCO, no problem. Your hemp flower has to be less than 0.3%. And I mean, I went through everything that they were like, you have to take down your blog. Like, that was one payment processor's solution. And then
this is ridiculous. Jumping through hoops.
And so then I found a payment processor that I was going to go with, and I went and gave them our compliant hemp flower tests, and they were like, nope, we can't accept this. And I was like, what? They're like, it's not an accredited lab. That's this one specific accreditation. Accreditation. I don't think that's a word, but
whatever. We get you, girl.
Yeah, accredited.
Right. But so then that one doesn't count. So it's just like, it's the most ridiculous stuff that I was like, I can't believe you're telling me this Delta 9 gummy that came from hemp, it's hemp derived, but it has 12 milligrams of Delta 9 THC. That's more legal than my 0.5% post-harvest smokable flower. And they're like, yep, all day. Sell those, go for it. So here I am today, selling lots of gummies. But wait, I will get our CBD back on. I will. It's happening.
Yeah,
I just sent off a bunch of samples.
It will happen. You'll find the perfect payment processing company. Like, there's not at MJ Biz at these expos, there's not like those kind of companies there that are like, hey, we're cannabis friendly. We don't have any issues with this industry. Are there any options like that? Like in the,
I mean, there definitely are. And I mean, I feel like I've talked to a good majority of them.
But they all
and they all have different like underwriting banks that have different rules, like the one that said take down my blog. Do you know anything about how websites work? If I take down my blog, no one's going to come buy my product. You won't make any money.
Exactly.
You don't want me as a client with no blog. So, but it's crazy. And my husband was like, why is the bank regulating us now? So now it's like, we're not breaking any actual laws. We're actually just getting regulated by a bank, by underwriters at a bank.
Yeah, the risk.
So like these people are not appointed officials. They're like just shuffling paperwork. And they're like, no, that's not going to work. Ridiculous.
Yeah,
so that's where we're at right now.
They're not like judging a cupcake shop on the kinds of sugar they're using.
Right.
They're not approving loans or whatever for cupcake shops because they're not using
because they're using high fructose corn syrup.
You're right.
And red number 5, yellow number 5, and blue 40.
Oh yeah, when it's not one nose in your business, it's another nose in your business, dude.
Right. Yeah. So that's why I'm in the hemp industry, and I'm still dealing with the red tape, but I sure am happy to not be dealing with the craziness the people in California that have gone through the different changes in packaging. And I mean, it's like they don't want people to make money and they don't want people to be successful.
Unless they're already millionaires.
People out. Right. They want to tire and wear out the little guy who's fighting for it so that the guy who's got all the money at the top of the food chain
can keep
his spot up there. So fucked up.
Give the plant back to the people.
Exactly. And then it's like, I feel so bad for it's crazy, like the laws about, growing and like, why are we regulating, people from having plants at their house?
Yeah. Why are we? I mean, it's here they're like trying to, they have petitions open, but there's dispensaries that are backing, of course, the one that puts a cap on how many plants you can grow.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a cut, bro. Everybody wants some money. Nobody wants to start from the bottom.
You guys are making me smoking jealous.
Come join us.
I'm gonna grab stuff too. Boom.
We never do an interview or film. Record a podcast without smoking.
I know. I was not equipped with my chair floating in my workout room. I mean, I have plenty of weed up here, so I'm okay. I just didn't have the setup in front of me. But
last time I was on, everybody was ready to smoke, and I was just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And then I don't think did I have any of the mushroom tinctures when I sent you something?
Oh no, yeah. So now, and I know that you also were working with Bradley, Cannabis Coach, was also on our show.
Yes. So Bradley's line is our King's Gold X, because I decided to name all of our fuck balls. Excuse me. I'm sure you wanted that on your podcast, right?
We curse all the fucking time.
Yeah, we do.
So this was not a G-rated podcast. Woo!
No. We've actually had Bradley on our show twice.
Yeah. So Bradley's line is our Delta 10 line. And so Bradley said that he takes the gummy. He's taken a gummy at night and slept. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. And that's when I stayed up till 5 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
I'll send you a little sampler pack of our new stuff, and you can see what you think.
And the mushroom, what is that? You have like a tincture? Is it like a mixture of different types of mushrooms?
Yeah. So we have Thrive, which is our immunity one. It has 12 mushrooms in it, and it also has vitamin C. And that one's just sort of like and CBD. And that one's like our general like immune system, like sort of like your mushroom multivitamin. Then Flow is our focus tincture. And that one has like rosemary, lion's mane, cordyceps, and it helps increase blood flow to the brain. So it helps you with focusing. Chill is this one. And so this one's like your de-stress. And then Dream is our sleep tincture. It helps like with, obviously it helps you sleep, but it's very like vivid dreams. So
Cool. I like combinations. I definitely do like combining different cannabinoids and mushrooms too, man. I used to work in the nutritional supplement area, and like I feel like essentially mushrooms and cannabis would be in that area.
right.
Like it's kind of going, because I mean, nutritional supplements, they have had issues with the FDA forever, and it's been constant battles, fighting and stuff like that. But also there's so many different components to the cannabis, for the hemp plant, that it's really hard to be able to, like get a patent or on each of the parts.
Right.
So everything is going to be kind of like, I mean, even if it does come to a federal level, it will still always be under scrutiny, because it's just so, God, it's so dynamic. There's so many things you could do with it. But I do love combinations. Like I've seen a lot of CBD, CBG, things that are mixed with, a lemon balm or kava extract, or like ashwagandha. Oh my God. And all of the mushroom complex, like the reishi and all of that stuff is just
Yeah.
so cool. I love all of that.
Right. It's so fun to it's sort of like, I mean, figuring out what works for you, and it goes hand in hand with just using cannabis in general. And the like also the exploration of cannabis as a whole beyond just THC. And
Right.
it's like I totally get why THC is a superstar.
Yeah.
Like I feel ya. I get it. But it's like these other cannabinoids have a lot of potential for curing other potential. I'm going to like very much say potential, because God forbid the blog police come over here and hit me up.
We can't make any claims or
No
say any
claim.
cures, no. We gotta give the disclaimer.
Right. But I mean, like a lot. Some people don't, just like some people don't like feeling drunk. Some people don't like feeling high, and that doesn't mean that you can't use cannabis. Just means that you need to like seek out other cannabinoids that do other things other than just getting you stoned.
Right.
And I mean, obviously THC does a lot more than just get you stoned, but if you don't like that experience of feeling, if it's out of control, then that's fine. We have other cannabinoids we can introduce you to. And I really like, being able to offer that. And I have lots of, people are like, oh, which one should I do for my mom, who's having trouble sleeping? And I'm like, oh man, this is a hard decision. I was like the Dream and the Chill are both really good. I've been hearing women that are going through menopause and having trouble sleeping, that like that combination of those two just like zonks them out. And then I've had other people that have never gotten high in their entire life, and they've taken a Delta 8 gummy and they're like, I was so relaxed. And they didn't even associate that feeling of relaxed as being stoned, but it's a little bit, the Delta 8 feeling of it being stoned, high, whatever we want to say, is a little bit different. And so
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just, it's one of these cool things that like we can have a great appreciation for all of those without, making anyone, I don't know. I've gotten criticized for like not smoking enough weed or not talking about weed enough. And
Everybody has their own regimen that works best for them,
right.
And I have friends that I used to get like blazed with growing up in our 20s. We did a lot of weed, and now he won't touch a strain that is over 10% THC. He sticks to low THC strains with CBD in it as well. And that's the only thing he's comfortable smoking now. And that's what works for him. And everybody has what works for us for them.
Right. Yeah. And it's like the judgment that it's so hypocritical to me to be like,
yeah, I mean, but the judgment is always going to be there. Anybody who's going to want to, for anything. That's why it's like, do whatever you want to do anyways. Smile, wave, and just do whatever you were going to do anyways. Like, people are going to not like the way you breathe. It is what it is. You're not going to conform to that person. They don't care. They're not your people.
Right. But it's hard to like keep remembering that.
Yeah,
that is the case. It's always a good like reminder to hear it from other people too. Like it's not. I have had my extent of criticism and judgment, and it's like it's not easy. It's not easy.
It's so hard. And it's so hard too to shut it out, because you're like trying to. You're trying to just spread the word and and be positive about it, and there's just always gonna be people that are gonna try to shit on you. I feel like, look, I honestly feel like it reflects more on the person who's throwing the shade, because that they're reflecting. It's a reflection of themselves on you. It's not you.
Yeah.
It's really hard to to pull yourself apart from that sometimes, because it affects you because you're human. But like, fucking people will show themselves when they come at you.
I know. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's their problem, not yours, At least you gotta keep telling yourself that, like, yo, that's a you problem. It sounds like a you problem. Because
I'm just trying to live my life, promote my products,
and on top of that,
world.
Absolutely. And on top of that, like it's hard to like force yourself. Like, all this shit a lot of times feels super cheesy, and sometimes it's really hard to push yourself to do a TikTok and to do a fucking take a picture, a cute picture to post, whatever. Like, it is all feels so crunchy, and it's hard to really sometimes be your own cheerleader to like make the content, to then also have that kind of feedback is like, you don't need that. That's just putting another barrier, putting you between your creation, your art.
Right. Yeah. I am. And I have like a very, like, I definitely try to keep all of the drama. Like, I don't want to like publicly shame anyone. Like, that's never, like, even when people are coming at me and I'm just like, I don't think anyone deserves to feel that way. Like,
Yeah, no.
so I try to keep, but it's hard. I know people have their opinions and they just want to share them with me or with us or with
And that's what's so
anyone.
hard about putting yourself out there
Yeah.
on the internet and being like a, you know, like a public figure and stuff.
Especially in something that has a lot of stigma, and
Mhm.
like that's what really like kind of makes me sad is we don't all have, everyone doesn't have to get along. Everyone doesn't have to be best friends.
Mhm.
Right.
But if you know that like we all have the goal of, you know, helping to further cannabis, and especially cannabis for moms, it's like I don't see any reason to throw hate towards anyone. We're
Yeah,
all
it's
trying
such a
to
waste
do
of
the same
energy.
thing.
It's such a waste of energy. It's such a waste of energy. And on top of that, like everybody's got their own flavor, bro. Like nobody's gonna do you like you. And there could be 1,000 other, you know, there is 1,000 other people trying to do what we do, and that's fine.
Right.
Okay, because at the end of the day, it's a long-term game.
There's billions of people to reach, and the more of us
Yeah.
out there trying to connect and have these conversations, the better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we just want to have fun. We don't need any bullshit.
Right. And there's no like wrong way to consume, and there's no right cannabinoid, and there's no one that's better than another, and
Right, you
there's
gotta
no
try them all and see which one
right.
you like.
Have fun with it. And
Yeah.
like
I mean,
have
like, yeah,
fun.
there's people that are all about dabbing. That's not my thing.
I
But
know.
hey,
Right.
if that's your thing,
Not
that's
my-
awesome.
Yeah. Let's
Even
do
though I
it.
did
All
try
right.
it for dab
Yeah,
day.
I know.
I
Hey,
did dab on dab day. Like,
you did. You're the only
I
one.
did.
I think. I used a pen, but you know, you
no,
did
but
it
I
with the
did
whole
it a few
torch and
times throughout the
everything?
day, and I almost killed my husband.
Yeah, I haven't done a dab in quite some time.
He coughed so
It's a whole
much, he
production.
threw
I
up.
used to- oh, really? Oh, yeah, I feel him.
Yeah, so I was like, this reminds me why I don't do this.
And
It is a production.
it
And
really
that's-
It is. It's a
There's
whol
like-
lot.
There's an element of cannabis that I totally understand why, like, and I really tried to like resist it on the edibles front. Like it's like almost like I dislike the convenience because I don't think it gets people to try smoking. And I feel like part of the stigma is around smoking. And, you know, it's like just so easy for moms to reach for gummies. And then here I am saying, oh, yeah, I barely ever smoke. I keep eating these gummies. And I'm like, okay, I'm totally doing the convenience thing, but I
Yeah.
get it.
yeah,
Like,
but you
and
know what,
I'll
though?
go through phases where with my bong where, you know, it's like I smoke out of the bong all the time and I'll clean it a lot. And then I'm like sick of cleaning bongs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to clean a bong. I'm just not going to smoke out of a bong.
Yeah.
You know?
Like what you were saying earlier, you go through phases. I do similar
Right.
too. While I was smoking bowls out of this all the time, like hand bowls. Then it was joints all the time. Then it was bongs all the time. And
Mhm.
then
Right. And I'm like, why can't I just like always mix it up? Why do I have to like go through these hardcore phases?
No.
I
You
don't
just get used to it. It gets easy. And we're,
Right.
you know, we're moms. We're
Right. We're moms. And
We
that's
don't
the
have-
it's the convenience factor. It really
Right.
is. And that's what like, but, and so I think like my thing with smoking was really that like, there was this whole CBD boom that happened. And is still definitely happening. Along with the, you know, THC boom, but you know, where CBD was just getting put into every product and it's a low quality or it's isolate.
I saw a
and it's
CBD candle and I was
Ah.
like, what the fuck? Why? Who the fuck would even, does anybody not even use their brain here? Like what?
right, like the CBD pillow thing is just so hilarious. But so like and so when I started like Society's Plant and I did discover actually smoking CBD, I was like, oh, CBD does work. I can feel it. like when you smoke CBD, if you have a ton of THC in your system regularly, you might not feel it very much. But
Right.
if you go
Like
through
a
some,
tolerance. I mean, I know people who use CBD to do tolerance breaks. So
right,
they'll use that
CBD is
instead.
good
And
mixed with like a
with THC,
high
there's so
THC
many
flower.
different uses. But
Yeah.
and so I fell in love with like the fact that we were growing CBD, and I was like, yeah, smoking CBD could be a thing. Let's do it. But then I didn't really try it until the pandemic hit. And it was, like 3 weeks into the pandemic, and I started waking up with panic attacks. Like I'd get woken up and I was like, and I was like, oh my God, it's time to start my day. What am I doing today? I have no idea. What am I even having anxiety about? I have no idea. And so then I was like, okay, I need to do something about this. And I was like, hold on, I have hundreds of pounds of CBD to smoke. Like, because we had just had our first year of harvest. I was just setting up the website. I was trying to sell CBD. I don't even smoke CBD. I'm like, this is an issue. But then I really quickly discovered how amazing it was, because it really helped my anxiety. And I was like, oh, more people need to know about this. And it's not necessarily the people who already smoke THC that need to know about it. It's like, okay, there's people who are having panic attacks or have a lot of anxiety, and this gives like some really rapid instant relief if people can just get beyond being not wanting to smoke. And I feel like in the 80s and the 90s, when we had all these anti-tobacco campaigns, because people used to smoke in restaurants and people used to smoke in cars with their kids, smoke cigarettes and
elevators.
hotboxing the car with cigarette smoke in their kids.
Oh my God, when there was a smoking section in a movie theater
On the airplane, you could smoke on the airplane, the don't smoking sign.
Yeah. And so we have this thing where we're like, ew, smoking's really bad for you. Like, it will kill you. And that's all on us, like our generation. I started like a Teens Against Tobacco club at my school. Yeah. I was hardcore anti-tobacco. And I still to this day have never smoked a cigarette. Like, my father passed away when I was 11, and he was a chain smoker. So I had good reason. Like, it meant something to me. But I understand why we have the stigma against smoking, is because we worked so hard to cut down on tobacco as like a society. We put all these rules in place to reduce it, and
the truth.
We haven't really explained that difference between smoking weed and smoking a pack a day.
Right.
Like, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, big difference.
Right, big difference. And when you're talking about someone who's like stressed out from a day at work, they don't want to feel stoned, but they want to get some relief, and they quit drinking alcohol because that'll kill you too. Smoking CBD can be a great option.
Yeah.
And maybe if you like it, then maybe you might want to try getting high.
Yeah. Baby steps for some people.
Right.
What was it my friend called? My friend calls like low THC, like higher CBD weed, diet weed. Yeah. Yeah. I've made jokes about it. And I'm talking like a week ago, my mom goes, will you get me some of the diet weed? And I'm like,
Mom would say that. Mom would.
I'm like,
wouldn't she?
I'm like, Mom, that's just what I was joking around calling our hemp. And she's like, oh, I thought it was like helped you go on a diet. I'm like, okay, apparently my own joke is getting lost on my mom.
Oh, Mom.
I know, Mom. Thanks. But and she still is like, always checks like the joint, and she's like, which one is the fun weed? And I'm like, I don't know, Mom.
Why don't you
Both.
smoke both? Finds out. Take the red
And
and the
I'm like,
blue pill.
I'm really trying to like narrow down if she thinks that sativa is fun or like an indica is fun or a 1-to-1's fun, because then it doesn't get you too high.
Yeah.
And so then you're able, so my mom has like a puff and she's super stoned. Very happy.
I wish I could smoke.
Always very happy. But I'm like, Mom, you look like you're having fun no matter what you smoke. So
Good. That's awesome.
I know. Yeah, she's good. So we'll get together with her in Florida.
Yes.
Bring her to a party.
Yeah, if you come to Naples, you better hit us up.
Yes. And bring mom.
sure.
You should do a pot smoking moms thing if you come down
We've
here.
been trying to plan a pot smoking mom retreat by renting a house on a beach somewhere on the west coast of Florida. We're searching for the right house.
I know, because everybody, you know, we're old and like our space and want our
So
own
we all
room
want
to
our own
fart in.
room,
But like that's such a hard
that's really
thing.
hard to accomplish on a beach.
It
Right.
is. It is.
To get a big house on a beach is extremely expensive.
Hey, I mean, St. Augustine has some really nice beach houses. I'm telling you, if you want to do that, we just got in too late.
I
We
know.
waited way too late to make the decision.
No, it has to be for next summer.
Yeah, so if you want to do that, there were some really nice places on St. Augustine Beach. I don't know what their beach is like, if it's like worth, you know, some beaches kind of like,
Look, the
But-
northeast beaches of Florida scare me. That's where there's
well,
more
like
sharks.
Fort Myers and
Jacksonville?
shit.
Yeah, St. Augustine is by Jacksonville. There's more sharks.
Oh yeah.
There's more sharks out there.
Oh no. Well, that's why we have to also get
area
a pool.
beaches are not as nearly as nice as the.
No, Naples, Anna Maria Island. Anna Maria Island is beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, everybody always talks about that place like it's like the best place.
Where's
So
that?
maybe we can get a couple of houses like close to each other.
It's like
you know?
I think it's like an hour south of Tampa. It's like Bradenton Beach. It's like a little piece, a little island right outside of Bradenton Beach. It's out there. I think from Naples, it might be like 2 hours or an hour and a half from there. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, Naples
beautiful.
is a good spot to get to all kinds of places. 2 hours
it's pretty
to get to
central.
any place.
You could be in Hialeah. That's where I'm at in 2 hours.
You want some Cuban food? We get you some Cuban food.
Where did you guys get a house at Orlando for Disney?
Oh,
We
yeah,
did. We did.
That
And
was- that
everybody
was
had their
great.
own room. Now in Orlando, that's easy. You
Yeah,
can
that's
get
easy.
a decent sized house for not a bad price. And we all had our own room.
I don't think you have to be on the beach. I just think you have to have a nice pool. I think you just have to have a big house and a nice pool.
Yeah.
And skip the beach. I think everyone's happy being in a private place where you can smoke and be free and have fun by the pool and be in and out and have your stuff and have a beautiful, luxurious pool and your stuff.
That is
And you don't
very
have
good
to be on the beach.
feedback. We can be close to a beach. If we wanted to go there, we can. But we could have.
But I bet you anything that it's like if you're doing a weekend, you have one full day on a Saturday. That's like pool day.
Yeah.
I think you're wasting money that you would have the exact same number of people and turnout and people willing to pay the same price, whether it's on the beach or whether it's just a dope house with a rad pool.
Yeah.
And it gives you a little bit more.
The thing is too, the really dope houses on the beach are like really expensive. That's like
Right.
we can't
Versus
even.
like any inland, you can get
And the
some
best-
like 8,000 square foot house with a freaking waterfall cave.
Oh my God, I
And
wonder.
the best houses require at least 7 nights. It's like 7 nights. What?
Yeah.
Like a week? Really? Come
Dude,
on.
Right. And so then when you add on like the extra upcharge of being on the beach, I think it would be way cooler to have this giant mansion with a pool and total privacy than to have like multiple condos on a beach.
No, it would not be condos on a beach. It has to be a house.
It has to be a house,
It
right?
would have
With a
to be like a
pool.
private-ish beach. We wouldn't want to be like, because if we're gonna
Public
be smoking
beach.
weed on the beach, yeah, we can't.
Right.
be
That's why I
I
think
smoke
just
weed on the beach all the
compound.
time.
Yeah, we
mansion.
do. We do smoke weed on the beach.
I smoke weed on the beach all the time.
Of course. But right. And so that's
I
why
know.
I think
kidding,
you'd
just
be
kidding.
fine with just a dope house.
Right.
You're right.
Everybody just wants to chill.
Right.
Moms
Everyone
just
just wants
wanna
to
have
chill
some-
and be together and like
True.
hang out.
True that.
This is true.
And
But Disney was fun. We all had our own room.
It was
and
exhausting.
we went to Disney.
Oh,
We did way too much.
I know. We
did
would
way
have
too
been.
much in
That's
one
why.
day.
And
But
after
it
that,
was a
we're like,
blast.
yeah,
We made
should chill.
two of our patrons, because this was our patrons that we planned this together with. We made 2 of them puke.
what, from
we
the
went
riots or
so
from
hard.
getting too high?
Because of everything, no, because of just all the.
There was
all of it.
edibles. There was a lot of walking all day. That they had to. You guys did have tequila
We
in
had
Epcot.
tequila. Both of the people who puked.
The
had-
2 people that puked
yeah.
had tequila with you. in Epcot.
I know. I had to go
I mean,
to.
you passed by Mexico. It's right at the entrance.
Yo,
We
listen,
went to Epcot just for Mexico.
because they have a blood orange margarita. Listen.
Oh, it's so
Look,
good.
She got in a
the
huge
best.
line for that shit. She got in a huge line for that shit. And while they were in line for that, I went and rode the Donald ride that's there in the
And
Mexico.
the queso fundido at the Mexican restaurants there is my favorite part.
Jam. I love the Mexico areas. It's so nice.
is
It's so, and
delicious.
I like that. I like how they do that thing where it's like it looks like they do it in the Pirates ride too, where it's like it looks like you're outside and it's night.
Oh,
You're
in the
inside.
dome
Yeah,
It's so
or in the pyramid,
cool.
in the
where you're
pyramid.
like in the
that.
pyramid, but are you in the pyramid? I don't know if you're even in the
Right.
Did you also
pyramid.
see a pyramid?
Exactly.
You're in the
When
pyramid,
there's
but you're
also
not in the pyramid.
in
You're
the
in the
pyramid.
sky.
Are we inside? Are we outside? I don't know anymore. Building inside the building.
And then the restaurant there, you can see the people going on the ride.
Right.
It's awesome. I love
Yes.
Disney.
I do too.
Disney again.
I know. For
We could
sure.
just do that again. Well,
I
and
know, right?
no, but the thing is that we would have to get a one with a better pool and privacy, because that house, although the house was great,
Oh my
The
God!
back
All the patios
no
were like
privacy.
this.
all the
They were
all the
all
houses, their patios are like on top
staggered
of each other.
on top of
So
each
our
other.
pool was like, you could see the other people's pool right there too.
Oh.
Feels
Yeah.
kind
But I
of.
mean,
no.
how many days were you guys there for?
Nah, we were there.
We
for like
didn't do
2 days.
anything in the pool. We
Right.
didn't have no time for that.
I know.
Right. I mean,
But if
But if we
did a
were, if
pool
we
day,
did have time to sit in the
if we
pool,
did a pool day, we want a private. Even though we were still
right.
smoking
That's why
bongs
I'm
out there.
saying, like,
we're still.
We're still
Right.
smoking our bongs out there.
Anyways, we don't. It's getting late. I don't want to take
Yeah.
any more of your time. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We're definitely gonna manifest an IRL, especially now that we know that you're in Naples regularly. You let us know. We'll throw down.
oh yeah, I'm here for it.
We'll
Sweet.
throw down for high society. Mama,
Throw
okay?
down. I love
Sure.
you.
Oh, before we go, email us like a headshot or a picture you don't mind us using to promote the episode, and your logo, whatever you want us to share on the episode cover for today. Interview.
Yeah, we'll tag you, and you know all that social media drill.
Yeah,
you know the drill.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yes.
We'll share all your handles and your website. Well, because we do an intro and an outro for the interviews,
Yeah.
and then we cut them in. So we'll share all that information. And if there's anything in particular you want us to share, just shoot it over in the email when you send us over the logo and headshot.
Okay, yeah, I'll do a discount code for you guys for Society's plant. And also, whenever you guys post it, be sure to collab me, and so that it reaches all of my followers too.
Yeah, I love that little feature.
I know it's been so much.
Makes it so much easier.
So much easier. So much less redundancy. Like
for real. And then it's cool because it shows up on all your feeds. And so we're trying to work on a second page with having Captain J have her own page. Mm-hmm. So then when it's like posts of me and her, I can invite her so her feed starts getting filled up with stuff too. So I wish they would have had that earlier and the link in the fucking story. I don't know why they had that stupid rule about you have to have 10,000 people. We were always fighting for that shit. They should have let everybody have that because it makes it easier to share stuff with people.
Right, exactly. Oh. It really does. So, I mean, those were two big leaps for
some good stuff, right?
Right. We have to at least be grateful for the good things that we have.
Now we're gonna figure it out. We'll ninja it. You know, we always do. We always we figure out what the algorithm is stopping, and then we're like, we fucking ninja it.
Yeah. Have to stay on top of it always.
And that was High Society Mama. You could check her out at High Society Mama or at Society's Plant. And her website, societiesplant.com.
That was really fun talking to her and finally meeting her.
I know, finally having a conversation with her.
Years of interacting online, seeing her online.
All her videos with
her. She always interacts with
gals.
Her content.
Yeah.
Like, we support each other like that. That's the easiest way to support each other is just interacting online.
Yeah. Super adorable. Hopefully when she comes over here to Florida, we'll hang out. Because she's here.
She said she's coming to Naples, so we're going to hopefully go to the beach.
Link up with her and,
you know me and the beach.
Smoke some weed. Hey, if you're still listening to our podcast at this point, we want to thank you. Thank you so much. We also want to say, hey, look, if you're listening to our podcast and if they made it this far,
they should be a patron.
You should become a patron. I mean, this is silly. We shouldn't be showing our patrons this. Our patrons are watching this. This is kind of right. But anyways, become a patron. You'll get early access to episodes, additional content, video and full uncut versions of our interviews, Zoom smoke sessions. Listen, we go on vacations. You get discounts on events. Just saying.
You get to hear about events first. You even help us decide on what we're going to do next. Yeah. You guys are like our focus group. We're like, hey, what do you guys think about this?
Exactly.
Does this sound like a good idea? Should we do it?
And then if it passes that, then we move on to everybody else, right? So thank you guys. Thank you. Special thank you to the patrons, some of which were on that photo. Yanni,
Destiny,
Lauren,
Jesse,
Christy,
April,
Shelby,
Denise,
Peaches,
Natalie,
Meredith,
Terry,
Angelina,
Jenny,
Catherine,
Amanda,
Jessica C,
Chrissy,
Diane,
and
Guillermo.
You know why I got caught up there? Because when I saw Chrissy, I thought of Chrissy, wake up.
Yeah.
I don't like this. Chrissy, wake up. Hey, hello.
Yeah. That's on my, in my brain. All the time now. In the middle of the night.
For when I read Chrissy, I had like a delay. It started playing in my head.
I don't like this.
Oh, God. Okay.
Hey. We've come to the end of the show. Thank you guys so much for everything. Subscribe, rate, review, share our content.
Bye.
Bye.